And we're here. And you were like Han Solo, stuck in frozen in carbonite. What's up?
Uh,
Tobe,
Let me out.
Tobe, where are you? I'm really digging the decor. What's going on?
T-Dog got an upgrade. um, yeah, I know. How do you like my digs, Jill? Pretty swaggy, huh?
Very. It has a very Cheers meets
It is kind of
um
the haunted Norm will be coming in here. Remember Norm
yeah, it's
for
like
all
if the
those
haunted
tweeners.
mansion was set in a Boston bar.
Well, does have some Boston feel to it. It had a way more. It actually had a recent remodeling, a pretty decent one too. There was some, like, I don't know, billiards green with stains on it, rug down here, or carpet that got pulled up, and now they had really nice cedar flooring. The hardwood. The ladies love the hardwood when you remodel a house. You never want to just leave down the shag. Underneath it are the treasures, and so this is what's happening at. I guess I should just we're heading a certain direction here.
Let's do it.
Manresa Castle in Port Townsend, Washington. It's the new home for Olympic Strange Days live starting on May 1st. So if you're in town, now's your chance to book your time. I'm sorry, May 3rd is the actual date. That's actually every first Saturday of the month instead of every third Wednesday. Change a venue, change the date, staying free. It's totally free. People can show up and no door fee. It is a haunted castle, after all. If you can't tell by the picture here, people come from all over the world to sit down in this very bar and check out all sorts of spirits. And we could talk more about the babushka woman down in the closet, which is like a little 4 foot tall black mass that's seen periodically. We can talk about the crawling child up on the third floor that runs down like a spider down the hallway and open and closes the doors. That I've heard myself happen at 3 in the morning. And we could talk about the time Ron Moorhead dressed up like Gandalf and had a few too many that night. It was a good time, different times, the old times. Brought to you by the pandemic.
So, just for anyone, now I've never been to the castle. And can you tell us a little bit more? So is it like a Airbnb, like a hotel? Is it a restaurant, bar, event space? What?
Mhm. No, so the history goes back to 1860. Now that's a disputed date. It actually supposedly opened 20 years after that point, but the owner who I talked to said that there's a 20-year gap that this building actually was constructed. And so a guy by the name of Mr. Eisenbeis kind of has an interesting past, like so many men back then. And there's some secrets to be told about who Mr. Eisenbeis really is. He built a lot of these historic buildings down here in Port Townsend. And again, to remind people, Port Townsend was supposed to be Seattle. There was some kind of shipping dispute as far as the inlet that led here out of the Pacific. And it probably came down to money, really. And so Seattle was decided upon instead of Port Townsend. So there's a lot of historic buildings here that now are all tore down in Seattle and don't exist. They exist here. So I just got done with a meeting. We shook on it, and there's two guys here. This is the bar side, and then there's a fantastic restaurant across the hall. And we can fit probably about 75 people in this spot, and it's just perfect for acoustics. It's got everything we need, including this bar here. You can expect spooky bar specials for that night. And I really feel like our first show will be has to be something that is really going to bring people in. So we're going to bring our A game for May 3rd, 2025 here at Manresa Castle. And if you can't make it, it'll be on the Olympic Strange Days upload. And we'll put together a nice edited, clean show for people. We won't be doing a live stream just because we don't have as much control and the editing process to really pull off a live show yet. And it's a lot of pressure, especially when you have other music and you may have somebody coming in that says something. And so just to keep it on the up and up for the kids, because I do it all for the kids, really, Jill.
For the children, for
Mhm.
the children. I was going to say, Renee, thank you so much for that nice donation there. I'm trying to pull it up there. Renee Drew, thank you. So Tobe, what's the kickoff episode gonna be? I know there was talk of elves, there was talk of
Mm,
canine cryptids, upright walking
right.
cryptid people.
Yeah. Well, I really feel we are going to move into the elf territory, but I want to try to bring in the elf witness is a virtual witness, and I got to figure a way to bring him in because I think he's somebody you really have to meet. And so when we can bring him into the castle, we'll find a toadstool for him to sleep under like an actual elf because we're on a shoestring budget. But we're going to bring in, it's either going to be on UFOs, ghost, or Bigfoot. And it's dependent upon who we can book to come inside here and actually do a show. So I'm looking for, I guess what you'd call in the conference world, an anchor. And we're going to bring in that anchor and really go for it. So that's to be determined. I'm just excited to be here. There's so many. I mean, I once was here, for about 6 months, and now we're back. We used to call it Podcastle back then. Podcastle, kind of a play on words, but I
And that
think
was back in when it was Strange Brow, back in the Strange Brow radio days when you were
the old
ambulance
SBR
chasing
days.
ambulance chasing
Right.
witnesses.
Still doing that to a degree. That's how we met.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's see here. So we do have. Let's see here for the members, channel members. We had the Thursday video that actually went live last night because YouTube's funny that way. That's available, and that's kind of a behind the scenes a travel log, if you will. Tobe's journey from from Washington to Baker City, and
Well, I tried to represent as much as I could that Olympic vibe in that Western town. But man, I think the Western town wore me out. So I brought back Baker City vibes and I paid for it. In all sorts of unique ways. We'll talk about it in Patreon. But yeah, it was a really long trip. And I thought, well, since it's going to be so long, there's so many things here to see and do and be a part of. Like, literally on day one, I ran into these 7-foot tall statues, 3 of them in a row of Pan, and they looked like they were circa from like 1920. The horns had moss on them. They were kind of just in this farmer's field. Really incredible thing to kind of just first run into. And this whole world of the supernatural does come back to Cernunnos and Pan and all these kind of half, I guess you would call them goat deities of some kind. So that was cool, interesting. And then, of course, I went to Bingen, Washington. We invited James Zubsky up, of course, from the Klickitat Ape Cat and Margie's Outdoor Post. I was passing him. We were like ships passing in the night. He's going over the bridge in his souped-up FJ Cruiser with a snorkel, and I'm going across my 2004 Honda, and we waved at each other, and I got some incredible interviews. So if you get a chance to go check out, members-only jackets were the coolest thing to have in the 80s, but a members-only jacket and a Flash of Beauty membership is maybe the coolest thing a kid could wear and have all year long in 2025. So go check it out for the low cost of under $6 a month or something like that. You have access to things like this episode.
yes, $5 a month. It helps us, So basically, this is a self-funded venture for the most part. We do have a occasional sponsorship, but your channel money helps us. It puts fuel in the car. It gets us to events like Baker City. It gets us out on the road to investigate, to film, and it keeps Mike Ferry caffeinated because he always needs a cup of coffee in his hand. So if anything, let's just call it the Mike Ferry Coffee Fund moving forward.
I didn't know that. I want to make mention here real quick. Nancy Fry just made these
Ooh.
amazing Velcro patches. Let me show you what's happening here. They have 3M tape on the back. You can sew this on, take it to a dry cleaner, and they will put this on as well as the tape backing. And then you put this on said baseball cap, backpack, cool jacket piece, right? And now it's like literally embossed rubber, and it's so sexy that I literally can't. I'm just beating them off with a stick when I put this on my sweater. So that's over at OlympicStrangeDays.com. You can order yours now for under $15. Nice work, Nancy.
Good work, Nancy. And so for Olympic Strange Days this year, can we expect a variation of the design, or is it something that's evolving, or
Yeah, well, here's what's evolved is the quality. So last year we had good hoodies. They were strong, they were durable, but they just didn't get tested in the elements enough, and there was a big windstorm. And to really fight that kind of power of the windstorm, you got to be cozy. And I was like, Nancy, we got to go cozier. So this year, now we got metal grommets, pull strings, and extra cush, right? Super soft, but yet thin. Bet you didn't think of that one. T-shirt's the same. Softer, better, longer, more productive. It's like Steve Austin on steroids. So go check those out over at OlympicStrangeDays.com. I bet you will. They got to change a date on them. We flirted with maybe putting a flying tent in the background because we lost our tents and our potty tents. But the logo's so good that I said, Nancy, don't change a thing. They'll get it anyway. They're just going to get cozier and cozier.
Yeah, Nancy, you hit it out of the park. So I will be ordering a patch very soon.
And I just want to make a quick announcement. 4th of July, 2025. Reserve that weekend if you want to do something and celebrate your independence in the desert. Think Oregon desert. 4th of July, that weekend, 2025. It's going to be a Friday, Saturday. You're out of town, back on Sunday, wherever you're coming from. Very limited run. And I'll tell you more here in the months coming up. But Oregon desert, 4th of July, keep it in mind. Pencil in your calendar. We'll talk about it later.
Very good. Well, let's jump in. We've been teasing a new interview. You know what? It's more than an interview. It is part of a Flash of Beauty journey, I guess you could say. So, as a lot of you know, back in December, right before Christmas, Brett and I went out to Alabama and we did some filming. And a lot of you have already seen our Tim Baker video that dropped about a month ago. But that wasn't why we went out there. That was just, Tim Baker was just a bonus, to say the very least. So, gosh, I'm trying to think how long ago it was. It's actually during a live stream. Brett was getting messages, or he got an email, or maybe it happened in the chat. I don't remember the particulars, but we were someone from Alabama reached out to us about a lot of activity they were having on their property, and we started this discussion, this conversation, I should say, not a discussion, but we started this conversation, and he's like, I really need someone to like come down here and try to make sense of this, and I just need someone to experience it themselves. So as Brett and I sometimes do, we just kind of throw up whatever we're doing and hop on a plane or hop in the car, and we flew out and not only got an interview with this individual, but another researcher not too far away. Now, some of you, and I saw I was kind of looking in the chat to see who's here. Some of you are familiar with this story already from Chuck in Arizona. I am talking about, we sat down and we did an interview with who Chuck refers to as Alabama Al. I'm going to do a dramatic pause and wait for the chat to respond.
Right.
What? So, oh, Jenny Larson, thank you, and Psychofu, thank you too for your donation. So yeah, so we sat down with Adam, and he's got a lot of, I don't want to say just interesting, but some really peculiar, just, it's odd. There's some stuff going on there in the woods back behind where he lives. I wish Brett could jump in right now and talk about the structures and this. Well, you'll hear the stories tomorrow when the video goes live. But we also had Mark Green, who is a researcher in Alabama, and he came out and he's been to Adam's property before, and he's familiar with the activity and whatnot. And I'll tell you what, I definitely want to get back there and see how things, I don't know if evolves the right word. I don't know if escalates the right word, but it really feels like it's building up to something. And I think that's what a lot of people who've been having experiences, they've been saying. They feel like all their encounters, it's building up to something. And I think that's the direction we're going in with this one. So that's going to go live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific time, so 5 Eastern. And like with the documentaries, Brett's a storyteller. He's a visual person. That's a true reflection of how we want to tell these stories. And then, of course, we put up the full interviews just to give everyone context to all the good stuff we couldn't fit in. But this interview is really different because it gets more into that creative storytelling, the way we do it. So it's
Well,
an
when you say,
interview with a little razzle dazzle, I guess
I
you could
like
say.
what you say, how they think that it's leading somewhere, that it's
Yeah.
building up and up and up, because that is really common. It was common in our story. It's common in a lot of stories, and it is almost is like the siren song, bringing you closer and closer, perhaps, to the rocks that will eventually capsize your vessel. And that can happen, emotionally. These guys kind of lose it, just like we're going to get the evidence. They want it too bad. And I haven't seen the story. I mean, maybe this is this a happy ending?
I think it's to be continued. Oh yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Happy ending. Happy ending, but to be continued.
Right?
And it wasn't, and this is the thing. And it always happens. It seems like in our interviews, how the story begins, like, I didn't believe in this stuff. I wasn't looking for it, but weird things started to happen. And it's like, kind of, once you see it, once you're tuned in, you're fully aware. And it wasn't just Sasquatch on the property.
Mm-hmm.
There's dogman activity.
Oh, geez.
There's lights in the sky.
Oh, geez.
And there's some other interesting connections that I have to stop talking, or I'm going to ruin everything for the audience. It's going to be like on the Goonies when the Fratelli brothers are putting Chunk's hand in the blender and he just starts talking. Yeah, I'll just.
You're such a kid from Astoria with all your Goonie references. Seaside, excuse
Seaside,
me.
thank you.
Whatever. I have to mention real quick here. Are you done with your thought, first of all? I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
We can talk about Goonies 2 supposedly coming out. I don't know if Brett's going to confirm that or not, but apparently, I don't know if this is a Spielberg film or not, but supposedly Goonies 2 is happening. Confirm that, Brett. While he's confirming that, I got an email today regarding a portal being brought up. Now you were talking about portals earlier with me online here, and I don't know if it was somehow kismet or if the fact that it was this link that I sent you earlier. Was it because I sent you a link that we're talking about portals next?
Well, I thought you sent me that link because I made a post on Facebook because
Oh.
I received an email from one of our viewers who asked if we were ever going to do any shows that pertain to portals. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she necessarily meant the Bigfoot portal connection or just portals in general. So I put a call out on Facebook, and maybe I did it on the YouTube in the community page. Uh, but yeah, I was asking for podcasts and links to shows that I could forward on to her. If you're listening, I promise I will. I just haven't had a chance yet. And then you sent me that link.
Right.
So I think it's just the universe and the synchronicities
It must
working
be
together.
because that's pretty wild. I don't usually get reports like this, but to whoever is watching here regarding portals in general, um, I got a forward today from Jeremiah from the Sasquatch Syndicate. That's the name of the podcast, right?
Bigfoot
Um,
Society.
Bigfoot Society, Sasquatch Syndicate. Sorry, Jeremiah. I meant well. That was that's his
That's good though.
competition.
We'll run with that for something
Okay.
else. Yeah.
So he sent me a Reddit post here from an old BFRO report, and I instantly remember hearing the story in about 2010, I believe, from Tom Powell. But when Tom told this story, he never gave any more details than the catchphrase, and the catchphrase is a real humdinger. Um, but in short, it's a pretty lengthy report here, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But there's a guy from Eugene, Oregon, my hometown, that experienced a portal opening up behind him and a hand coming out of the portal and saying something like, "Gotcha." Now, the way he described hearing it and seeing the hand didn't smack of really all Bigfooty, because in this report here, he says that when this thing reached its hand out and kind of reached at him, it was almost like it was saying "gotcha" as kind of a joke to itself and not so much like a thing towards him. That's a very nuanced comment. And then he described the hand as being, I believe, almost like manicured nails, like it was a clean, almost like Caucasian type hand, but the thumb was placed down in the wrist where you would see a Sasquatch hand typically. It's a very interesting report here, and I, I, I'm sure that I heard just bits and pieces of this long ago. If this person is listening and you want to be interviewed, somebody from the team here needs to go down to Eugene and talk to you about this amazing report. Let Brett read it if he hasn't read it yet. It's about 7 paragraphs long, not too bad, and very detailed.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Eugene's doable. We can do that. Totally.
Yeah, so this was actually between an area that I'm very familiar with. It's between Dorena Lake, which is right above Cottage Grove Lake, along Row River. There's a mountainside that borders Highway 58. And so it's between that area there and Oak Ridge. So if you're taking Highway 58 along, you're going to see the lake, and on your right, you're going to see the mountain ridge. So it's I guess it's a very known, well-known historical spot for Native American trading. The two tribes, I guess, would maybe meet there. There's a lot of cave systems there that people don't know about. And so it needs to be looked at
Okay.
a closer way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll crack the case. We're on it.
Dun dun dun.
So yeah, but it was interesting with the portals because as I was like looking through some of these links people were sending me and just reading comments, I mean, I saw Daryl Adams in the chat, and Daryl was really quick. He posted the photo he has of the portal opening on his property when he had the Owl Moon Lab, that blue shaft of light, and it was from a tree, correct? You were Tobe.
It was we had a sensitive on hand, and she said that there's something happening in the dark over there across the, it was 11 o'clock at night. There's in the old growth, and so it was near a tree. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, but as you know, online googling away, and so I was jotting down some notes because I mean, so what is a portal? Is it just like a doorway, to from one dimension to another, or a parallel, universe or whatnot? Or is it, do they happen in these power spots, where the veil is thin with the ley lines? So I really don't know that much. So I am here to learn along with everyone else and go down that rabbit hole, or go through that portal, I should say.
Go through it. And to Brett, Mr. Busy Hands here in the private chat, I just put the link to the Reddit site. If you could put that up in the comment section, I'm not allowed to comment for whatever reason right now. But just copy and paste that Reddit site, and that will take you to the whole report. It's pretty fascinating. So the idea of these portals here is just so cross-contaminating with UFOs and ghosts. That's why I don't think there's a damn difference between any of this stuff here. It's all accessing space and time differently, and you can't help but go back to the Adam Davies John Carlson incident where worlds collided with all of those things. And to this day, they say they saw monsters, and other people, including Dr. J, say they're guardians of the portal. No matter what your description of the characteristics and their resume is, the fact is that they would probably swear on a Bible, under oath, take a lie detector test. They didn't want to see this thing open and close, and it affected them profoundly to the degree that they're just now kind of talking about it. Now, Adam Davies has a YouTube channel as well, and I think it's like adamdavies.com or something on YouTube, and I'm sure he's going to get into it because he's going to be forced to acknowledge it a mano a mano. And he has. He was on Tony Merkel's show, The Confessionals, and he went into great detail on that one about what had happened and how it had happened. And so, have I ever seen one open and close? I haven't, but I'd love to.
Would you know?
Sorry, I'm clicking my pin again, Brett. Would I know? I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess if it was some other world that you could see opening, like a Stargate.
Now, here's a question. If you saw something open, would you investigate? Would you like be sticking your hand through, or would
I
you?
think so. I think I'd have to. I think I'm that guy. I mean, if it's good enough for Kurt Russell, it's good enough for me. He walked in, never regret it. He got back. In fact, he found true love. So let's
Happy
go.
ending.
Happy. I don't know if he found that, but it's a different portal.
Literally.
Right.
Womp womp. Yeah, so yeah, and here's something I need to do some follow up with people who've been emailing. Uh like I've said, I do my best to get back to people as soon as I can. Some responses require more thought out response. And lately there's been a lot of those very detailed accounts of their encounters and questions, and I try to respond or hop on the phone with people as much as I can, and I'm still working my way down the list. But there have just been some really amazing insights that have been shared recently. But again, I need to double check with people to see where their comfort level is with me sharing this either on the live stream or following through for an interview. I think a lot of times people just need somewhere to park their experience just to kind of get it get it off their mind, get it off their
Hmm.
chest, get it off their plate, and I feel like this is a safe place to do it. And it may take me a while, but I'll continue to hold space and read your accounts and get back to you. And so that's probably going to
Hmm.
be my weekend assignment. But I am going to make an effort to just follow up with everyone and ask if I can share their stories on the live stream, or somehow share them with the audience, because there's so much good information that needs to be shared.
Yeah, same here. If you send me a message via email or messenger, and I don't immediately get back to you, and you see me click on it and I've looked at it, it's because I feel like it requires a longer response than, hey,
Hmm.
cool, thanks. And I've done that before, um, but it's not out of malice. It's just due out of, I don't, there's other emails coming too on top of it, and you just get kind of lost in translation. And it's not like I get ton at all, but I try not to get overwhelmed easily. Maybe I want to do it too right. Maybe it's too thoughtful, and it's just like, hey, that's very cool. Have a great day. Maybe that's all that needs to be said. But sometimes I feel like I want to go back and peel back the layers of the issue here. So I will try to do that as well.
Yeah. And let's all admit, and I'm sure a lot of people who are listening right now, who are in the chat, let's admit that the best stories, the best stories that are shared, the most mind-blowing experiences are the ones that happen that you can't share, where
Mm,
you're where you're it's in the vault. You can't divulge. But
I love it. I love it when you
yeah.
do a Seinfeld reference.
Yeah, I try. I try.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So what
So
else is going on, Jill? We have a date at Mount Hood. You guys were out, and now you're in, and I think you're going to stay that way. But Mount Hood coming up April 11th, their first Bigfoot festival, and it's going to be in the shadow of where the infamous FLIR footage was taken, which I believe is on the same side of the mountain. Peter Byrne country, John Glickman country, Henry Franzoni country. Like, I don't know. I mean,
unsolved mysteries country. What?
hey, guess who got a raincoat? So guess who's going to be wearing that all summer long?
Oh
Um,
my gosh, you look like McGruff the crime dog.
look like Medusa. Yeah, I don't. Brett made fun of my raincoat. Now I'm going to put my patch on it.
It was very Robert Stack-ish.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
so we're
when I
excited
came down to
about
Oregon,
that.
I didn't have a raincoat, so I'm like, well, I got to get a raincoat. I'm going to go full Dennis Farina, and so I did.
You're committed. But yeah,
Yeah.
Brett and I are excited. So we will be screening A Flash of Beauty, Bigfoot Revealed, Saturday morning. The last time I looked at the schedule, it said 10 a.m., but I would need to confirm that. And I'm assuming there's a Q&A. I don't know, but we'll be there. So if people have questions and want answers,
Hmm.
we'll give you an answer, or we'll make something up that sounds convincing.
I mean, when there's a Bigfoot conference, most Bigfooters show up early because they want to hang, and this is going to be quite the hang because it's in a new. No one's ever had a Bigfoot conference that I know of underneath Mount Hood. It's never been done, as far as I know. It probably has happened, along Highway 84, other places, but this seems like a really sweet resort. They're excited about it, and so expect more wood watchers. Expect vendor tables. They've got a pretty big lineup, so they're definitely looking at this production value as like a future thing that they're going to keep doing.
I hope so. It's the
Mm-hmm.
perfect venue for it. Um, Now there might be, I'm not sure, wishful thinking. Perhaps I'm trying to create this and call it in. There might be a video being filmed of some sort mid-April. Brett and I are going on a little bit of adventure, and we will try to come back, come back with something for
Oh,
everybody.
yeah, especially since it gets into the world of what other researchers are working on that is long in nature, we'll put it like that. So, um, yeah, there's definitely a story to be told there as far as Bigfoot's concerned.
Yeah.
And it may be a little bit bizarre to peel back those layers, but there's someone you need to call before you leave. I hope you do.
I have a couple phone calls to make. I
Yeah.
always have phone calls to make.
Jeez. Well,
Oh,
remember, some of these people are on the East Coast, so you can start early and knock them out. And I know you're kind of a morning
great.
riser.
My favorite. Morning. Um, yeah, my notes are pretty short for this live stream because the video isn't going live until tomorrow. And so, well, we'll have a lot to talk about next week. Let's put it like that. So,
Okay. Yeah, I hear you there. Well, I
I
guess
don't know. Is there anyone in the chat who has, let's look through and see if there's any questions.
there's a lot of comments here from folks. They're super excited.
Just
Win at Mount Hood. Again, Renee, that's coming up on April 11th and 12th. So you can find us in that hot spot underneath Mount Hood at mounthoodresorts.com Bigfoot Festival. I know I put some links up here too, and I could look for the link if Brett doesn't have it handy, and we could copy and paste it along with that Reddit link I put down in the private chat.
Yeah, and I just want to say I'm seeing that Squatch and Holler was on, so looks like Roger had to scoot early. But on Monday, I'm gonna be a guest on Squatch and Holler. Roger and I've been trying to coordinate this one for a while, so third time's a charm. So I'll post a link to that on Monday, so y'all can tune in.
I think by the time, yeah. So by the time next week live, I will be, if you have a chance to listen to it, check out Coast to Coast. April Fool's Day, 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. Me and George Norrie are going to go back and forth for the Midnight in the Desert. It should be a humdinger. We're going to get into it all. If you've heard the story before, my experiences, we'll talk about those too. But I would really like to get into some of this historical stuff as it relates to things like Harry Mary and the European connection to Bigfoot, the wild man connection, the green man connection, because I really feel like this is where the research is heading as far as the Americas are concerned. We're kind of, going through the filter of the American experience. And I think we can even go back older and to the benefit of Sonia Zohar, to the 14th and 13th century in France. So, I have my homework.
Yes, get cracking. What a timely discussion, but we'll save that for another day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. So I don't know. Before we wrap up, I don't know if Brett wants to jump in and say anything. Any closing thoughts?
April Fool's Day. I know it's a funny one, Llewellyn. Who else would book me on April Fool's Day? Book a fool.
Oh, George.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. Meanwhile, outside of the chat, I've got like 4 different people listening to the show, texting me with commentary.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
okay, I got it. I'll have to follow up on that. I got to be here. So I don't see Brett logging in. I'm going to assume he said his part about not being able to confirm Goonies. Do we have any more information on the new Spielberg film? Can we get into that?
What is it called? Arrival or Imminent?
Disclosure?
Or Disclosure?
Isn't it? Isn't it Disclosure?
Yeah, Disclosure. There is a new episode on Jesse Michaels' podcast YouTube channel. Just type in Jesse Michaels. And the whistleblower that was in Africa, that was there on a humanitarian, I guess, adventure with special ops, he's the one that came forward with Dr. Greer last year. He's on Jesse Michaels, and he's the guy that saw the octagonal blacker than black UFO that came down through the rainforest 300 feet wide. And as they're watching this thing unexpectedly arrive, these guys in SATCOM show up with rifles and basically threaten their life, and they witness this anti-gravitic, possibly human trafficking operation that's not human trafficking. It seems to be related to psionics, which this is the rabbit hole that most people don't go down to. You guys are kind of read in, but Jesse Michaels, go check out the latest episode.
Brett, we can't hear you. Maybe it's
Hey,
better.
now.
Okay. Oh,
Hey, now. There you go.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? I wasn't really talking. I was just moving my mouth to fake you guys all out. Yeah. I'm just observing. I'm not really here to add anything to the conversation.
No.
I just felt left out. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I saw Mark's in the chat tonight, Jill, and Mark has got a co-starring role with Adam in tomorrow's video drop. So
Ooh.
I'm back.
Adam who's texting me photos of stuff going on at the property.
Like right now?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, that's why I'm here,
Yeah.
because I just want to promote this video. It was a long time coming. We were hoping to get it out earlier, but by the way, I've got a TV on. That's why I keep flashing, because my beloved Portland Trailblazers are playing. So I turned it off to not distract. Anyhow, go Blazers, Rip City, yes. Anyway, so yeah, so like Jill said, we went down to Alabama, to the little town of Lincoln, Alabama. And it's just so odd because Mark, who has been doing some research with Adam, just so happens to work about 2 miles away at the Honda factory in this little area, which is nearby to the Talladega Speedway, which I got permission to fly a drone over.
Whoa.
Right, Jill? Yeah. So those opening
No
shots,
comment.
I got permission from Ricky Bobby himself, who said
Shake and bake.
I can shake and bake and fly the drone over. So you'll see those in the opening shots, so you don't want to miss out
Ricky
on that. But
Bobby.
there is no comedy in this almost hour-long it's almost kind of a mini movie with thrills and chills and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And as Jill alluded to earlier, her and I had some time to go through this area. This is a very interesting area in that it's really close to a major interstate, and it is sort of small, but it actually connects to forest and woodland, going a long way. So I mean, it makes a lot of sense, even though it's kind of urban-ish, if you will. It makes a lot of sense that there are these things there, that there are Sasquatch and other things there, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, but like I said, Jill and I had a chance to go through these woods, and we were finding these tree structures that were really, really interesting. Mm-hmm. And the structures that we have found in the South versus other parts of the country are very different. They're not like the big ones you find in like the Northwest. These are different. They're more intricate and they're smaller. And it's like, once you see it, you're just like, there's no way that wind did this or this fell naturally from decaying wood or whatever. So that was pretty stunning. But, in as much as I hate to admit it, we had some audio problems, and these things come up sometimes on shoots where we'll have just interference or whatever, but we had audio problems with Adam on site. And so some of the things that he talked about, we weren't able to include because we couldn't really hear him talking about them. But,
and that's pretty interesting, Brett, too, because you're monitoring those audio levels in real time.
Yeah.
So, like in post, you find the gremlins in there. Are you thinking that might be paranormal?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's user error. Um, I'm not gonna lie,
Hmm.
because these things happen, especially when you're a crew of one and you're dealing with a lot of technical stuff. But other times it's completely and totally unexplainable. We did a never before seen interview with Christopher Noel, where I was monitoring, I was checking everything, and the audio didn't turn out on that one. You can sort of hear what he's saying. So at some point, as technology gets better and I can clean up the noise a little bit, we will probably put that interview together because what Christopher had to say was awesome. But yeah, it can happen. That was a really weird one with Christopher because I was missing a cable that I needed,
Oh,
and so what I did is I kind of rigged it, and it was a plan B with Christopher, and I was monitoring, and I thought the plan B was going to work fine because I was digging everywhere, looking everywhere for this essential 3.5 millimeter
you
cable,
turned the car inside out
inside out,
looking for it, like
inside out,
every
yeah.
case. Yeah,
And then I got back to the car, and it was like right there. It was like right there.
right on top.
I mean, like you couldn't even miss it. So there you go.
But Brett, don't you feel? I mean, and we've talked about this. I think our trip to Alabama was kind of like like a taste, just a little taste of more to come. We
Yes,
definitely need to get back to Alabama, to
yes.
Tennessee, North Carolina, Louisiana, that whole area, and just do a flash tour, I think.
Oh, for sure. We love the South. We kind of used to live in the South a little bit when we lived in Virginia. We were kind of like just above the Mason Dixon line, um, or maybe we were just below it. I think we were
No,
just below it. Actually,
we were just above it.
was it Fredericksburg? I
No,
can't
because
remember.
we basically we
Mm.
live by Quantico. So
Yeah, we lived by the
just
FBI training stuff, but I can't. We can't talk anymore about that.
yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, like Jill said, we love the Piggly Wigglies. We want to come back, and the food. My gosh, we each put 10 pounds on when we were down there
Yeah.
because it's barbecue this, barbecue that, Bigfoot barbecue, so on and so forth. Yeah, so you don't want to miss what's coming out tomorrow at 2 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Mountain, 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern.
And what about the people in New Brunswick or Prince Edward Island?
That would be 6 o'clock Atlantic time. Newfoundland would be 6:30 because they're on the
Whoa,
half hour thing.
look
Yeah,
at the brain on this guy.
yeah. Well, I've been there, done that, Tobe.
But Tobe, I'll tell you what. And
And well, you guys haven't really lived in the South till you ate a mullet. Do you guys know what a mullet is?
isn't it fish?
Fish.
Okay, but I mean, it's also, I thought you guys would think it was only a haircut, but I found out it was a jumping fish.
Yeah, indeed,
Yeah,
it
okay.
is a fish. I didn't know that you could eat mullets or that people did eat mullets.
Yeah, you eat it raw, right out of the lake.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
now
all do
is that like catfishing when you go noodling and stick your
it.
hand out there?
Yes. Yes. I
I
hope you
love this
guys film
comment.
yourself noodling.
I learned that because I was a writer and producer on a comedy fishing show.
Oh,
So
yes.
Yes.
I got
Love
all
it.
the fishing jokes.
We're gonna
Yes.
we're gonna do a noodle video at some point. Jill's gonna get in there. I'm not getting in any water in the South, so
No,
Jill
No,
can do it.
no.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But on a more serious note, I do want to say that I think if time and resources allowed, I think the format that we did Adam and Mark's video, I would love for us to be able to move more in that direction because I think it's more true, Brett, true for you as a storyteller and as a visual person to represent, you know, does that make sense where I'm going with that?
Yeah, sorry, I was distracted by Hilton Whittlewood's comment of what time New Zealand.
Oh,
Hilton, it'll be 2 days from now in New Zealand because you guys are like, I don't know how many hours ahead.
you are a time traveler.
Yes,
You come
Right.
from the future.
you're like, you guys are like 23 hours ahead of us or something crazy. So it's already premiered, I think, but it hasn't. but anyways, um,
Oh, Daryl Adams is gonna be our noodle hookup.
oh, cool.
We need to get back to Oklahoma too.
Yeah, well, I know, and we haven't been to we haven't filmed in Mississippi. We haven't filmed in Louisiana. We scratched the surface in Fouke, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't filmed in Tennessee, Virginia. I mean, there's a lot of the South that we need to cover.
So
So
basically, what we really need is for some like Scrooge McDuck who has a fascination with Bigfoot and the paranormal to be a benefactor to these adventures, so we can be the eyes and ears in the forest and on the road collecting these stories in order to share. So if anyone listening has won Powerball or Mega Millions, now is the time to be very altruistic and
Scrooge, we're looking for you.
support the Flash of Beauty team.
Yes.
Hey, Uncle Martin Scorsese comes to mind because rumor is he's a Bigfooter. So Scorsese, come on.
Yes.
Enough of this De Niro stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Tennessee feral people encounters. Yeah, we'll see about that. I don't know.
Bob Bigelow, yes.
Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, just to kind of like say what you just said, Jill. Yeah, I would love to be doing more stuff like Adam and Mark, but it was a lot of work. It was very taxing on our editor, and
we didn't have Mike with us too.
Exhausted. Yeah, we didn't have Mike with us, so that's a lot of work. So I'd love to do it, and we're going to try. But we've got movies that we've got to finish, like stuff. So exciting things are happening with that too. So
yeah. So you guys, we are pushing hard to wrap up Voices in the Wilderness and have that out end of year. We're also,
thank you, Renee. I appreciate it. Renee is our Scrooge McDuck tonight.
Yes, thank you.
Additional $5. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate it.
Nice.
That gets Mike Ferry 2 cups of coffee.
Whoa, there's some big spenders tonight. There's way more tips.
Hey, big spenders.
Yeah, so I don't know, I'm excited. A lot of exciting things happening this year for us.
Yeah. By next year at this time, it's like if you like what we're doing, you're gonna love where we're at next year at this time for sure, because there's just so much cool stuff happening, and more cool stuff, and yeah.
Slick stuff, small stuff, cool stuff.
It's all sitting in a vault just over here. Over here in a big hard drive. Lots and lots of secrets that you can't hack into because it's super protected.
Yes. Well,
Jill's a weird look on her face. Okay.
Let's go ahead and wrap up. And I'm just kind of looking over at the chats. Bim Jim, I want to hear more. I know we've exchanged emails before and photos, and you've told me about some of your experiences. I want to hear more about what's going on up in your area. So go ahead and drop us a line at info@bigfootdoc.com. And I guess we'll just see everyone next Thursday, unless I run into you at the grocery store or something.
Hey, that happened once in Kamloops, BC, Canada. We ran into to Sheldon.
I was wearing my Flash of Beauty shirt, going through the deli section or something.
Yeah, the meat section.
And this guy kind of looks at me. He's like, he's pushing his cart. He's like, how'd you get that shirt? And I'm like, this? A Flash of Beauty? He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I interviewed the filmmaker on my podcast. I'm like, well, I'm the producer, so you must have interviewed Brett. And he's like, yeah, Jill, it's Sheldon. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh.
But yeah, small world.
Jill, we just got our first $5 Australian from Jim Condon.
Oh.
Jim, thank you.
Jim,
Appreciate that.
Crikey.
Appreciate that. That's like the first foreign money we've ever gotten. So thank you. Appreciate it.
And you know what? We'll have to come down to Australia to get it. So
yeah, no, that's on the drawing board for 2026, or maybe late 2025.
So
Tobe's
Okay,
feeling with.
everybody. That's
All right, you
all.
guys, have a good night. Thanks again for all your support and being here. We appreciate it.